So I go for my jog in the morning. Then I go pump a little iron. I've been doing 20-pound reps. I've gotten up to 25 curls, like standing up like that, 4 times. So I'm doing my 7-kilometer, 4.5-mile run. Then I do about 100 curls, and then I do like 10-pound weights just to tone. I'm listening to podcasts when I go out. I say, what am I going to listen to? I noticed that the Bill Maher podcast with Joe Rogan was 1 hour and 20 minutes. That is wildly the shortest podcast that he's done. It's the shortest one that I've ever seen. Most of them are like, 2.5 hours. Sometimes they go to like 4+ hours with the guy with the tattoo on his face, not Karl Malone, the rapper, Post Malone. Some of them go like 4 hours, Jordan Peterson. And I've always said, like, if I ever make it onto Rogan and the podcast lasts less than 2 hours, I'll be mortified because I have an operating theory that they only don't go over 2 hours. They don't go 2.5+ hours if they're going well. I said that the negative way. They're not shorter than 2 hours if they're going well. If they're going well, they'll go 2.5, 3 hours. And so if there's a podcast that went under 2 hours for whatever the reason, I assume something went wrong. That was my operating assumption when I saw that the Bill Maher podcast was 1 hour and 20 minutes long. So I started listening to it. I was like, oh, did they get into a fight? Did something happen? What happened that this ended so quickly? And it started off good. And it started off, interesting. And then it like devolved in the last 10, 20 minutes where Bill Maher says after 1 hour and 20 minutes, oh, I've got a show in 1 hour. I've got to go. But to me, it sent pretty clear that Bill Maher was pissed off at Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan wasn't lapping up the anti-Trump bullshit. That's my impression. It might have just been that they only slated it for 1.5 hours because Bill Maher had a bit to get to. But that's not my impression. Now, which one do we start with? Let's see here. Bill Maher goes on an unhinged tirade. Here, let's start with this one. Bill Maher starts off the podcast. This is not going to be a Bill Maher podcast review, but we're going to highlight the level of indoctrination and then my conclusion about Trump derangement syndrome, which I genuinely believe is not a thing in and of itself. It's an iteration of mass formation psychosis, some form of social contagion, for lack of a better word. It's a manifestation of mental illness. And I'm saying that not to be demeaning or belittling to mental illness. This is like widespread mental illness. And I think it's diagnosable. And I believe it's just manifesting itself with Trump derangement syndrome. But I do believe there's something bigger to it. Listen to this.
I'll give you this point. Trump looks a lot and sounds a lot more hearty and robust.
Yeah. Do you notice how he talks like somebody else? Do you notice? I mean, maybe I'm just totally connecting dots. He has very much the same inflection, pacing, and nasal delivery of the words to make it sound more intelligent. Very similar to Sam Harris, I find. In fact, I think if you could tweak these audios and make them sound identical. This was not the one I wanted to start with, but we're going to live with it.
Yeah. And healthy. That's true.
He's healthy.
He's a city roach. He eat the worst things he eats, the stronger he gets. You cannot kill him. No, I
He's
agree.
also the only guy that didn't noticeably age the moment he got into the White House.
No, we did.
We aged when Trump was president. Oh yeah, because like inflation was at an all-time high. We were on the brink of World War III with Russia. Crime was out of control. No, I'm sorry. That's not Trump. That's Biden. But we aged under Trump's presidency because things were so terrible. Oh, what was so terrible? Well, we had a bunch of media talking heads telling us that World War III was coming. Oh, they got that wrong by a few years. We got a bunch of talking heads saying he's going to kill America. Oh yeah, they didn't quite do that, but the next guy did. It's okay, and I'll get to the conclusion after, but listen to this.
Aged when he was in office. He was fine. You're right. He didn't look like he aged. He always looks the same. But he's a criminal.
A city roach, by the way. Imagine if someone had called Bill Maher a city roach. What would the accusation have been there? ADL? Yeah, you can take that one from me.
And he's crazy, and he's stupid. And crazy and stupid are two different things.
When you say crazy, what do you basically
Okay, let me give you an example. Stupid is like Frederick Douglass is alive, or the stealth bomber is literally invisible.
Right.
Or nobody knew health care was hard to solve. That's just stupid. He's very stupid. Crazy is like, it's important that the crowd at my inauguration was the biggest ever. And I'm going to make an issue of this for the first 2 weeks of my presidency, despite photographic evidence to the contrary.
Crazy is making an issue about the size of the inauguration. And who made the issue about that? The media and Bill Maher right now. Why is he telling us it was? I saw pictures that say it wasn't. He's lying. And Bill Maher is calling Trump crazy for allegedly doing exactly what Bill Maher is doing right now. There's a word for that, people, a term. Confession through projection. You can get your shirts at vivafrei.com along with your mugshots.
Or I'm going to steal these documents. I don't even know what they are, and I don't care, and I'm going to put them next to the toilet at Mar-a-Lago, and then I'm going to fight you to take them back, or not conceding the election. Those things are crazy.
Stacey Abrams, crazy. Hillary Clinton, crazy. I mean, well, first of all, I do believe Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton are crazy, so that might not be the best comparison. It's verbal diarrhea of the propaganda nature.
Or thinking I can somehow charm Kim Jong-un in Korea, although that might be stupid. Sometimes it crosses the line between both. But he's both stupid and crazy.
You can cut the arrogance with a butter knife.
And he's a criminal. You know, he's not being charged in these trials because he's a liar. They purposely didn't do that.
He's not being charged because he's a liar. He's being charged because he's a criminal. Oh, we've got another guilty until proven innocent person on our hands. We've got another, he can go to trial and prove his innocence. Well done, Bill. You learned nothing from history.
Apparently it's okay. It's not illegal to lie to the American people. And of course he did lie and continues to lie. He still hasn't conceded the election, which he plainly lost. He's charged with actual crimes.
Oh, he's charged with actual crimes. Oh, that's much better than the times when people are charged with non-crimes. That makes total sense, Bill.
Criminal intent to obscure, I forget what the actual name of the...
Because I'm a bloody idiot, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I just know what I believe. I know what I believe. I don't know why I believe it, but I believe it. And I have to, oh my goodness, get caught in a brain fart where I can't even motivate what I know I believe, despite not understanding the reasons for which I believe it.
Law is, but criminal intent to basically steal the election or to coerce people in the states from... I forget what it is.
Yeah, you forget. How about, you don't forget when you know, Bill. You don't forget when you know. You forget when you're trying to repeat things you don't understand to justify beliefs that you have that you don't know why you have them.
Forgery.
Forgery.
Which is...
Forgery. Does he understand the forgery charge in the indictment? I guarantee you he doesn't.
It has to do with the electors scheme.
It has to do with the electors scheme.
Criminal intent for...
What is the forgery?
That's the slate of electors he was putting forward, the fake slate of electors.
Oh, that's not an answer, Bill. What is the forgery? I guarantee you that charge doesn't go through.
And then there was the one of...
Oh, now Jamie comes to save him because he doesn't know a damn thing of what he's talking about. Oh, doesn't end there. I'll give less commentary on the other ones. Here, no, this one. Bill Maher. Oh, look at this one. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. In the
he admitted he had. One of his quotes was that they have on record of him saying, "I don't want people to know I lost this election."
This is the evidence that Bill Maher has in his head. A quote. He's on record.
Admitted he had. One of his quotes was that they have on record of him saying, "I don't want people to know I lost this election."
Oh, never let facts get in the way of a good motivated reasoning. Do you know what the statement was? Because I had to go look it up. If Trump said that, I think I would have heard about it. This is from an article, I forget where it is. From former President Trump told his then chief of staff, quote, "This is embarrassing," end quote, and quote, "I don't want people to know that we lost," end quote, after the Supreme Court ruled against him on a key case about the 2020 election. Former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson told the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riots. So what we have here, by the way, because it is nonetheless an allegation. It's not on record except in Bill Maher's demented head. An allegation that Trump said, "I don't want people to know that we lost a case," spin losing the case in a way that, I don't know. Look, it is embarrassing to lose cases. President was just raging about the decision and how it's wrong and why we didn't make more calls and just his typical anger outburst at this situation, she added. Hutchinson said that she and Meadows crossed paths with Trump in the White House when the pair was leaving a Christmas party in the residence. He had said something like, "I don't want people to know we lost, Mark. This is embarrassing. Figure it out. We need to figure it out. I don't want people to know we lost," Hutchison said. Talking about a case that maybe they shouldn't have lost. But in Bill's mind, he's on the record as having said, "I don't want people to know we lost the election." And then bringing it back to my original, statement earlier, if you acknowledge only that they censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, and that's the only thing they did, they interfered with the election, and Trump is right to say they interfered with the election. And Bill Maher is wrong to say that Trump is wrong for saying that they interfered with the election. But even his reasons are wrong, because he's an idiot. And then he gets tripped up because he can't possibly justify what he knows that he believes, but he knows so hard that he believes it. Here, this was the one I think I wanted to bring up first. Oh, which one was here? Oh, yes. Let's hear this one.
Isn't it, if you're going to work on viruses, shouldn't it be just working on a cure?
Well, I'm sure that was their intent.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. This is the guy now who knows that government is lying, who knows that government is corrupt, who doesn't trust them because they are fundamentally corrupt, now gives them the benefit of, I'm sure if they're working on viruses and gain of function, it's because they're working on a cure, right?
They didn't. I don't know. They didn't do it. I think the intent is to get research money. I think the intent is to get research money and to continue your studies. I really think that's the intent. Because it doesn't seem like the intent was, let's make sure that we have a cure for this stuff.
Let's create a virus so that we can have a cure for it.
Well, I would hope that would be what they were trying to do.
I would hope too.
I mean,
I like to hope people are good.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, you're saying what they were doing was purposely creating a bioweapon.
I don't say that. I don't use those terms. But I have heard other people use those terms. I think it's a little extreme. I think what they were doing was capitalizing on the money that you get from research.
They were genetically engineering viruses. Call it a bioweapon, call it curiosity. That is a distinction without a difference. That's what they were doing. Listen to what Bill Maher has to say. Who's to blame for all of this?
And there's a lot of money that goes into research, and Fauci controlled where that money went. That's part of what was going on. I think that's a lot of it. If you're a bioengineer and this is your occupation, is to genetically engineer viruses, you want to do that. That's what you do. And you want to, continue this work and continue this study, whether or not it's good for the world.
I think
and
Joe's
that's what
being a little
Obama
naive
thought
here,
it
but
wasn't. And
I think Joe's being not naive, but I think he's being easy on the guest, which I feel that there's tension, and this is not, they're not, neither of them are enjoying this experience, and Bill Maher is looking for an exit. But listen to this.
Then Trump came along, and apparently there was so much chaos that Fauci slipped it back in.
And Trump disbanded the Biodefense Force. That it was pennies. To have this little small group of people over there who are watching this.
The government is going to rat out the government, eh, Bill? The government is going to have a watchdog over there that's going to say, holy crap, the government, you're doing gain-of-function research in a lab in Wuhan, China. We better tell big Donald Trump. Can't have that. The same government that lied to Trump about how many troops they had left in Syria, tried to provoke or plan a war with Iran. They're the ones that Bill Maher thinks for pennies on the dollar would have stopped the entire pandemic from the illegal activity that they were doing in Wuhan, China. I mean, it's not stupidity, because even a stupid person would not make this type of mistake. This is mental gymnastics brought about by Trump derangement syndrome. And I think there's a good reason why it exists.
Oh, no, we got to save the money. It cost us $6 trillion.
Yeah.
Again, stupid, crazy criminal.
Do you think that if he didn't do that, they would have had a solution to this?
I don't know, but I think if we had a little team over there keeping an eye on those people, which we didn't, it would have might have gone a little better.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure Fauci wouldn't have lied about the origins of the virus had they had a team there. I mean, that was it. A team there surely would not have would have resolved all of the censorship problems back in America. It's crazy. Hold on. What's this one? We got one more. Do we got one more here?
And he admitted there's one of his quotes was that they have on record of him saying, "I don't want people to know I lost this election."
Lie. stupid,
crazy.
wrong,
Well,
or
he's crazy.
Have you ever tried to steel man his position?
This is where I think Joe
do you
Rogan
think
is
he
being
really
good.
believes they stole the election, or do you think he's bullshitting?
Who gives a fuck? It doesn't
Who
matter.
gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck if he really believes it?
But I mean, if he really believes there's evidence that the election was rigged.
No, I don't care. No, first of all, that was part of the January 6th committee's findings.
No, I don't care. That was part of the January 6th. By the way, he just said the quiet part out loud. I don't care. I don't care that they rigged the election, because they did rig the election if the only thing they did was censor the Hunter Biden story. I don't care, because I hate Trump so much. I'm going to live with demented Joe in World War III, but at least it'll be a righteous death when it occurs. Oh, and the January 6th committee said it was bogus. This is the same guy who in the earlier part of the interview was railing against transgender ideology, gender affirming care. He's like, how can they call it gender affirming care? It's Orwellian. You give genital mutilation a wonderful name like gender affirming care, and somehow people convince themselves that the atrocity is justifiable. And he doesn't understand that is exactly what he's doing when it comes to the January 6th committee. January 6th saying Trump is guilty is the Boston's Children's Hospital calling genital mutilation gender-affirming care. But Maher can see it when it comes to that, but he can't see it when it comes to his own mental derangement. And my punchline of all of this, what I think it's all about, I genuinely think TDS has been weaponized, propagated, or even manufactured by the media, the Mockingbird media, which necessarily involves intelligence, so that they could get people to justify their current suffering because, but for the boogeyman, it wouldn't have been the case, or if the boogeyman were still in power, it would be even worse. And it's the ultimate diversion from all current failings. Oh, what's that? You have gain-of-function research in a lab in Wuhan, China? Surely it's Trump's fault because he disbanded a pennies on the dollar organization that would have done jack squat to out the criminality that was going on in Wuhan, China. Oh, what's that? Yeah, World War III now? At least it's not Trump. And it allows people to justify the current abuse because could have been worse. It would have been worse. Or just blame it all on Trump because whatever I'm suffering right now is that and a result of Trump. And it's first of all, it's not even that far-fetched of an idea. It was originally Mark Grobert of America's Untold Stories who floated that idea. He says TDS is MK Ultra at a national global scale. That's not outlandish. The Trump derangement syndrome, it's a manifestation of a mental illness at a social level, a social contagion that was incessantly propagated, promoted, and exacerbated by a media that we know has historically been infiltrated by intelligence and probably still is, because there's no reason why that which was true in the past would not be true today. And it's been weaponized to the fullest extent that it actually has still captured the minds of people who can see so clearly on certain issues, blinded totally on this issue. And that bullcrap rubbish of a podcast, I've never had a bad Joe Rogan podcast. This one was the worst one I've ever heard because it didn't even degenerate into them actually fighting. I think Bill Maher's like, holy crap, Rogan is one of them. I am out of here. He's not lapping it up and saying, you go girl, when I'm calling Trump a criminal lie. What do you say? A criminal? Stupid liar. Mark Twain says, judge a man by the adjectives he uses to describe others, or that he uses in common parlance. And I know there's a way that people can use that against me, but right now, that's what I'm seeing with Bill. I think we got a couple more that I'm not gonna bring up here. Let me see what there was here. Finboy6 says, Viva pumping iron to look like his superhero picture. Admit it, that mullet looks glorious on you. There was a meme. Hold on, let me see something here. Let me get this one out. There was a meme. I believe it was Talix. Hold on. Who just got blocked by Brett Weinstein? Just got blocked by Twitter, by Elon Musk. Interesting. There was a meme which we'll share because it comes from our Viva Barnes Law.locals.com community, and it is kind of awesome. The mullet is good, but it reminds me too much of James Baruchel from here it is. Look at this. It reminds me a little too much of James Baruchel, and if anybody doesn't know who it is, was he in 40-Year-Old Virgin? He might have been in 40-Year-Old Virgin, but he was definitely in Knocked Up. Canadian. Here, check this out. pretty sure this is from Telex, but look at this. Yes. Head's too small, body's too big. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least they got the 8-pack right. I'm joking. All right, that's it for Bill Maher, TDS. But no, there's no question there's a utility to Trump derangement syndrome, and it's why the media has been pumping it, promoting it, and encouraging it in everybody. And I know smart people within my circle who suffer from it. We are heading into 2024, it is the most monumental election year ever, period. And by the way, TDS does not only affect liberals. There's plenty of people who I'm talking to, engaging with on the Team DeSantis camp. Not the big names, just people who also seem to be afflicted with TDS. But I like to hope that at the end of the day, when the inevitable happens as far as the GOP nomination goes, they'll wake up to what's going on. Okay, that's good. Let's see here. Chat. Michelle Lee 77 says, I had a dream Viva cut his hair. That's a nightmare. That's not a dream. I'm the one who made that picture, Finboy Slick? Okay, Finboy Slick is the one who, I thought that was Talix. Finboy, you should know that that's the ultimate of flattery. Because I thought that was Talix, the meme master. We might have a competitor now. Finboy Slick. Oh, but okay. Was it AI? Not that it detracts from it. It's beautiful. Finboy, thank you very much. Alexander Rosum. Maher may have been referring to the Trump administration discontinuing the funding of the Predict project in September 2019, which included EcoHealth. Well, wasn't if he's, so this, Alex, I'm gonna have to look into this, because if he's talking about defunding the Predict project in September, which included EcoHealth, unless I'm mistaken, EcoHealth was the third-party NGO that was financing the, the gain-of-function research in the lab in Wuhan, China. So defunding the third-party NGO, which was actually funding the gain-of-function research, that seems like a good idea. I don't know. You know what? Actually, I'm going to screen grab that. I'm going to go look into that after this. I don't know that answer offhand, but that sounds interesting. Oh, and then Chrissy Kingdom says there seems to be some state messing with Rumble access. Rumble is under attack. DDoSs, they're under attack on the market. They're under attack politically. Why? Because Rumble is where you're also having free speech, sharing of relevant discourse. And they don't like it. They got to control the free flow of information, people. They've got to change perceptions. They've got to have their secret cabal. Time Magazine Cabal Fortification. I'm going to read it just one more time because it is worthy of being repeated until even the brain dead, even those with the TDS virus, as the mind pathogen, as Gad Sad would say, until even they understand. That's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream, also known as a conspiracy theory. Even though the reality sounds like a conspiracy theory, a paranoid fever dream. What's that conspiracy theory? A well-funded cabal of powerful people. By the way, you call people a cabal, they'll call you an anti-Semite. A well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies, working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, mind control, change the rules and laws. I don't know what to call that. Steer media coverage and control the flow of information, censorship. Censorship, mind control, and changing the laws so that nobody knows what the laws are. A cabal of well-funded, powerful people. Anyone out there, any layperson dare refer to anyone as a cabal of well-funded, powerful people, you will get accused of anti-Semitism. Period. Them's the rules. Segue into ADL. They were not rigging the election. They were fortifying it. Bullshit. And they believe the public needs to understand the system's fragility in order to ensure that democracy in America endures. They weren't, what the hell's the bullshit line? They were not rigging the election, they were fortifying it. They were not rigging the election by mind control, censorship, and changing the laws. They were fortifying it. Democracy is so fragile, you've got to take a steaming dump on it in order to make it grow. You got to destroy democracy to preserve democracy. Democracy is slavery. War is peace. Ignorance is strength. Oh.